Hey guys, it's Alex from 7th Hour Films, and welcome to Season 2 of Merlin. Last time on Merlin, we finished up Season 1 with, God, how do you say it? Hold on, let me try to sort of French it up a bit. Le mort d'Arthur. Yes, that. The Season 1 finale. We finished up Season 1. Last time on, Arthur got attacked by the questing beast, and Merlin and Gaius realized that there was no cure for, the poison, I guess, of a questing beast. So Merlin went off to find a way magically to do it, which was to sacrifice his life in order for Arthur to live. And the person that was doing all this, that was, trading lives and stuff, was Nimue, actually. But instead of taking Merlin's life, she tried to take his mother's life. And then when that didn't work, Gaius tried to offer his life, and then Merlin came in to offer his life again, and then he got the bright idea to offer Nimue's life instead, which is incredible. So, yeah, and that was pretty much that. Arthur's all well and good now, and yeah, that's pretty much that. It was an interesting finale. I really did enjoy it. And now we are moving on to Season 2. Because we are on the first episode of Season 2, if you want to watch my full-length reaction to this episode for free, completely free, you can go into the description or to the pinned comment. There's a link to my Patreon page, and that will give you basically the full unedited reaction of this episode for free. It doesn't have any show footage, save for the first 15 seconds of the episode are in the video, down here where it normally is. And that's to help you with syncing your copy of the episode, because that footage fades away, because I can't just give you the episode. That's really fucking bad. Pardon my language. I don't know. Since when do I censor myself? Whatever. So yeah, you're going to have to sync up your own copy of Merlin with my footage. And if you like doing that, you'll already be on my Patreon page, so you can go and sign up for just $5 a month. You can get both early access and full length on all my reaction videos. So yeah, but if you don't want to do that, you're thinking, okay, nah, I don't really want to do full length. I just want to see your highlight reaction. Well, to watch my highlight reaction, you are still going to have to go down to the description or to the pinned comment. This time, if you go, there'll be a nice link there. It'll probably be the first link in the description in the pinned comment. And it'll just say Merlin 2x1 reaction highlight, and it'll give a link. You click on that link, it'll just take you to Google Drive, and you can just start watching the video. It'll have all the footage there. You don't need to worry about that. It's nice and edited, and it's nice and good. And so yeah, if you want to watch the shorter edited reaction, you can do that. Or if you want to watch the full length of this episode, you can. Both things. For both of them, you can go down in the description or to the pinned comment. And once you're done, either with the full length or the edited reaction, you can come right back here to this YouTube video and watch my discussion on this episode of Merlin. So, yeah, with that being said, let's just go ahead and get right into this episode of Merlin. Here we go. Okay. Alright, that was a pretty good premiere. Like I said, I was kind of worried about it being... I don't know, it seemed a little too goofy at first, but it all worked out. It all worked out in the end. I mean, it's not like this show doesn't have its goofier moments, but I don't know, some of it was a little... But it all worked out. That was a pretty serious attack on Camelot. Of course, it's interesting that with everything that's happened over the course of this show, the fact that only this is the one that Uther's getting up in arms about, basically. That's kind of interesting. This is the one where he's like, all right, we need to buckle the fuck down and get back to our fucking crusade. So yeah. So let's just go over the notes as I adjust my shirts. The first thing I wrote down was the tomb. That was kind of interesting. So the tomb of Cornelius Sigan. Now, did they say he was a king? No, I think they just said he was a sorcerer and he got too powerful, so the king executed him. Yeah, I think that was it. So, despite the fact that they did, he was executed, they did give him an actual tomb and placed in his, soul gem, basically, which is interesting. But yeah. So, another curse. Oh, man. Another curse happened. And so that was interesting. And this one, just kind of bringing back this ancient evil sorcerer, which is actually kind of cool. You would honestly think that would kind of be, maybe a bigger villain than it was. But, it did work for this episode. Man, every sorcerer is trying to recruit Merlin. I guess they all see his potential, but yeah, it's kind of interesting that they all just, everyone tries to recruit him. It's like, oh, we'll rule the world and stuff like that. And it's like, it doesn't work. It just does not work. So, yeah. Okay. And here's where we get sort of the goofier element of this episode. We had Cedric. Who played him, by the way? I want to know. Is that is it's the guy from Pirates of the Caribbean. I thought he looked familiar. Yeah, Mackenzie Crook. Yeah, the dude who, the eye keeps falling out in Pirates. Yeah, I don't know what else he's been in. Oh man, hold up. Gotta brush the hair. Alright. Yeah, let me see. Has he been in anything else I'd recognize? Yeah, it's like known for Pirates, The Office. Yeah, it shows Merlin as one of, I guess, his bigger roles. I don't know. One of British comedy's best known faces. Ooh, that's cool. Huh. Oh, now I'm just kind of reading his bio. Alright, well, yeah, I definitely thought he looked familiar, and I did kind of think of that guy. I kind of thought about him, and I was like, oh, he kind of looks like, the guy from Pirates of the Caribbean, and sure enough, he is. So that's interesting. So yeah, we had Cedric, who, like, it took me a while to figure out what the plot was doing with him, honestly, because it's like, okay, the episode is obviously called the Curse of Cornelius Sigan, which I can't avoid show titles with these shows because of how I watch them. So yeah, so I was like, okay, well, there's a curse, and this is all about a tomb, and it's like, okay, well, what exactly though is the purpose of Cedric? But they figured out it just kind of took a while because they had to go through everything of him actually getting to the tomb, and the only way to do that was to basically show up Merlin at every chance in order to every opportunity and become Arthur's new servant, basically, and then just steal the keys, which is interesting. It makes sense because I mean, that's always been like that has been a consistent thing throughout this show, is that if there are keys to anything, Arthur is the one that has them. Arthur always has the keys. No one else has keys in Camelot except Arthur. So that's interesting that, because see, I figured he was just going to try to steal them or maybe take out Merlin, but he basically he took over Merlin's job as servant just long enough to get the keys. So, yeah, that was interesting. And, yeah, let's see. So, wrote down Cornelius Sigan. That was interesting, and, this whole ancient legend about him, being the most powerful sorcerer who ever lived, basically. See, that's the thing, is when they say something like that, it's like he was one of the most powerful sorcerers. It's like, well, you would kind of think he'd be a much bigger villain than just sort of being, a one-off villain, just for the premiere, Yeah, like, you would think, like, this guy is, like an even more powerful version of Nimue or something. But no, they just kept him. I mean, in theory, they can bring him back if someone finds the tomb and takes the soul gem. But I don't think they're gonna go with that. I don't know. I don't think that could happen, really. So yeah. So that was interesting. And of course, Uther, when Gaius presents this knowledge, and Uther's just like, fuck it, whatever. Who cares? It's Camelot. I'm better. And then something happens, and he's like, yeah, I guess I fucked up on that one. It's always the case with Uther. He always like shrugs off like Gaius's warnings, and then it just turns out that Gaius was right all along. So yeah. I wrote down new guy. This whole thing of this new guy is here to replace one of our main characters, and he's everyone likes it. Well, particularly just in this one, it's like, oh well, Arthur really likes him and prefers him, and then our main guy that we've been following, is dismissed from his job because we got the new guy. It's the exact same thing that happened last season to Gaius, with the one dude whose name I cannot remember. I cannot remember to save my life. But yeah. So, but that was the whole plot of that episode, with the guy with the burned face who took over Gaius's job because, Gaius was starting to slip up. But here it was used more for comedic effect, like, knocking out Merlin and, letting the horses run, and then Arthur goes over and, Merlin's just sleeping with his face in shit. So yeah, that, I don't know, it was weird. It was definitely like odd to watch because again, it's not like this show doesn't have, its more, lighter moments, but watching this, it was a little like, I don't know, it was a little too much. I don't know. It was interesting, I guess, but it was really, really goofy, but it played out the way it needed to play out in order to get Cedric to the tomb in order to take on the soul, basically. So it all worked out in the end. But it is one of those things where it's like, I hate stories like that where, there's a new guy that's replacing our pre-established guy who up until just now had nothing wrong, and it's like suddenly, he's screwing up a bunch, so we gotta keep the guy I literally met like a day ago. He's clearly better. The same thing happened to Gaius, the same thing happened to Merlin, and it sucks. I hate stories like that. But, like, basically just replacement stories. I don't know why, I just don't like those, but it worked out. It worked out here. So yeah. Putting the soul into the gem I thought was interesting, because Sigan wanted to escape death, basically. So that's the thing, is he basically let go of his mortal body and let that die, but his soul still survived through the gem. That was kind of interesting. And then once he took over Cedric, we had the gargoyle attack, which is interesting. I guess this is the first big the first big, like, magic battle at Camelot? I don't know. I don't know, man. I guess, because, like, we had the Griffin, I feel like there was something else. But, I don't know, this one is just, like, this is the big one. Like, this is the one where it's, like, yeah, like, a ton of people fucking died in this battle, you know? So, yeah, so, for the premiere, it works, and it makes sense that, okay, now this is when, you know, Uther's gonna double down on his, he's gonna double down on magic again. So, yeah. I wrote down Arthur and Gwen. They had another moment there. Well, they had two moments, technically. There was, you know, she saved him, and of course they landed on each other, and I was like, oh, I kind of like it, and it's fucking Arthur. But then they had a more, you know, serious moment where he basically said, like, you know, you'll always surprise me. And he's like, you know, thanks. So there's something there. They're starting to bring in something. Which, good. That's part. It's like one of the few things I know about the Legend of King Arthur is, like, at the very least, I know that his queen is Guinevere. So, yeah, they're building up to it, and I like that. I like that they're actually, like, building up to it. We're not just immediately going into it. So, yeah, it works. I like that. Okay, I wrote down Merlin and the dragon. So immediately after being like, you know what, fuck you, you're never gonna see me again. You're gonna stay here, and I'm glad. Immediately he pretty much has to go back with his tail between his legs, and talk to him, and the dragon is taking it all in. He's just like, so, you're back. It's like, oh my god, fuck you, John Hurt Dragon. R.I.P. John Hurt. But yeah, that, oh man, he's just such a shithead, man. So yeah, and then, because it does still make sense, because, you know, he does want to see Camelot survive. He wants to see Arthur on the throne. But he does want to see that out of his own self-interest, basically. So, you know, it's interesting. He wants that. It is still out of his own self-interest, technically. But he's still willing to help Merlin, even if there's now a beef between the two of them. So yeah, which that's the thing, is that Merlin still has to go back to him in order to get this knowledge. I also like that Gaius was like, did I know you were going to talk to the dragon? Of course I knew you were talking to the dragon. Which is interesting, because, you know, long ago we had that episode where Gaius actually went to talk to the dragon, and that was actually really interesting, you know, and because the dragon hates Gaius. So that was actually kind of interesting. It was the one time someone other than Merlin talked to him. So yeah, it's kind of this interesting thing. Now they finally told each other that they speak to the dragon. But yeah, and now Merlin, in order to get this knowledge, Merlin had to promise to free the dragon at some point. And oh, that is unfortunate. That is a debt. Merlin is going to have to pay his debt at some point. And you know it's going to be at the worst possible time to do that. And here's the thing is, if Merlin sets him free and Uther is still alive, I kind of feel like Uther's just going to kill him. Because here's the thing is that, you know, you almost stop and think like, okay, well, it almost like is in your head like, okay, well, he's a dragon, you know, surely he should be able to kill Uther, you know, if he gets free, he may destroy Camelot and stuff. But then you also have to think, he's the last dragon, the last of the dragons, and the reason for that is because of Uther. Yes, that was 20 years ago, maybe when Uther was in his prime, but Uther killed every single dragon and imprisoned him. It imprisoned him as an example, you know? So that's the thing, it's like, if the dragon gets free and Uther is still alive, he still would have to fear Uther. And that may honestly be one of the biggest things to think about in regards to Uther, is the kind of power he at least had 20 years ago when he purged magic from the world, is that he did do all this. He faced sorcerers in battle and won. He faced every dragon in battle and won. Yes, that was 20 years ago, but you gotta believe he can do that again, you know? Which is why every sorcerer, you know, everyone related to magic right now is just kind of waiting for him to die, you know? And that's the other thing too, they're all just expecting Arthur not to do anything about this. And we keep talking about it, you know, everyone's putting a huge gamble on Arthur, but it's still true, you know? Like, it's pretty well established, I think, that Arthur is a better warrior than Uther. And especially, you know, because Arthur's in his prime and Uther's not, at least. So yeah, it's like, you know, that's the thing, is like, if Arthur had the same mentality as Uther did, which he somewhat doesn't, but if he had the same mentality, I think they should still fear Arthur as much as they would have feared Uther. That's the thing. And that's the other thing too. I think they all still fear Uther. You know? I think the dragon, you know, made this promise, had Merlin make this promise, but he may have to wait until Uther's dead. That's the other thing. But yeah, and the last thing I wrote down was renewal. Uther's renewal in destroying all magic from the face of the earth. Asshole, maybe you should start with your fucking dragon that you keep. I kind of want a conversation between Uther and the dragon. Granted, the dragon can still breathe fire, and Uther doesn't have magic like Merlin does. You know, Merlin's able to block that fire. Uther wouldn't. So, but I kind of, because it was already a heated discussion, a heated, you know, chat basically between the dragon and Gaia. So if you put Uther in there, that would be crazy. Oh man. But that's all I got for this episode. Great episode, great little premiere we had here. Yeah, really, really big and bombastic, actually. Despite how goofy it was at times. But you know what? That could probably sum up the show right there. It was really big and bombastic, even though it was goofy at some points. Yeah. But yeah, that's it. I'm excited to see where we're going in this season. So with all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of my Merlin reactions, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.